Welcome back to Threshold City. This is Shadows of the Night by Raven Knight. Chapter 4. Adjustment. The second body was face up on a quiet residential street where the porch lights were still on. Not an alley, not hidden, displayed. Patrol cars boxed off the intersection. Neighbors stood behind tape in bathrobes and bare feet, whispering like grief was contagious. 2 blocks from my apartment. Close enough that I recognized the cracked sidewalk near the curb. I'd stepped over it 100 times. Liam met me at the edge of the scene. "No windows shattered this time," he said. "Give it a minute." His eyes scanned my face, searching for tremor, collapse, something unstable. "I called it in as a possible ritual repeat," he said quietly. "Limited personnel." "Good. You don't get to say that like you're grading me." "I'm not." I stepped under the tape. "You're improving." He made a sound that might have been irritation. The body lay on the asphalt, positioned precisely between 2 parked cars. Male, early 40s, casual clothes, grocery bag spilled beside him, milk spreading in a pale arc across the street. Human. Completely human. I knew before I knelt. The air didn't have that faint metallic resonance of supernatural lineage. No hum under the skin. Just blood. Too much of it. His throat was cut, but not as deeply as the first victim's. Less efficient. More controlled. The spiral carved into his chest was smaller. Tighter. Cleaner. No chalk this time. Just incision. "They adjusted," I murmured. Liam crouched opposite me. "Meaning?" "They don't need theatrics anymore." He followed my gaze to the spiral. It was perfect. Mathematical. The gaps from the first scene were gone. No incomplete arcs. No hesitation. "They learned from the alley," I said. "Or you're seeing patterns that aren't there." I looked up at him. "Do you believe that?" His jaw flexed. "No." "Good." The geometry aligned with the street's storm drain, with the angle of the houses, with the old power lines overhead. Not random. Never random. I hovered my hand above the victim's sternum. Nothing. No residual heat. No hum. Silence. That was wrong. "It's dormant," I said. "Dormant like a bomb?" Liam asked. "Yes." He didn't flinch. "Then why hasn't it gone off?" I straightened slowly. "Because it's waiting." "For what?" I met his eyes. "For me." He stood too. "You're not stepping into it." "I have to." "No." His voice cut sharp enough that a nearby uniform glanced over. I lowered mine. "If I don't trigger it, it stays primed, and we don't know what that means." "It means we evacuate and bring in specialists." "Specialists don't exist." "That's not how the world works." "It is tonight," the neighbors murmured behind tape. Someone started crying softly. The streetlights flickered once. Subtle, but enough. Liam saw it. "So what's the move?" he asked tightly. I studied the spiral. It wasn't drawn for power. It was drawn for timing. The first ritual had forced output, tested range. This one was quieter, precise. It wanted a controlled response. They were measuring something new. "Distance," I said. "What?" "They're testing proximity." "To what?" "To my threshold." He stared at me like I'd switched languages mid-sentence. "I need everyone back another 20 feet, I said. "They're already clear." "Farther." He didn't argue. He started issuing orders. Tape expanded. Patrol cars rolled slightly. Neighbors pushed back with irritated confusion. I stepped closer to the body, not inside the spiral. Close enough to feel for pressure. Still nothing. The air felt empty. Too empty. Like the ritual was holding its breath. I crouched. "Evie," Liam warned. "I'm not in it." Yet. I studied the incisions. The lines were shallower than the first victim's. The killer hadn't needed volume, just signal. My gaze flicked to the grocery bag. Milk still leaking. Bread crushed. Normal life interrupted. Completely human. They're escalating, Liam said quietly. No, I replied. They're refining. The first alley had been downtown, neutral ground. This was 2 blocks from my apartment. I shifted forward. 1 inch. Nothing. Another inch. The spiral reacted, not visibly, but the skin around the cuts tightened. Microscopic, like pores responding to cold. I felt it then. A thin thread, not below, above. The geometry wasn't anchored to the ground this time. It was suspended, waiting at chest height. They moved it, I said. Moved what? The breach point. Why? Because last time I hit the ground. Understanding dawned in his eyes. They don't want you grounded. Exactly. They wanted me upright, exposed, measured in full. I stood, slowly. The thread strengthened. There it was, that low hum again, not as violent as the alley. Sharper, focused. The air in front of me shimmered faintly. No one else reacted. Only me. Good. I stepped 1 foot inside the outer arc of the spiral. The hum spiked. The skin on my arms prickled. The cut lines on the victim's chest darkened. Blood welled up from dry incisions. Not flowing, gathering. The neighbors gasped collectively, though they couldn't see why. Streetlights flickered harder. Evie, Liam said, don't touch me. The air in front of my sternum split. Not a tear like before. A slit, vertical, precise, 6 inches long, black, watching. No wind, no roar, just awareness. It wasn't pushing through. It was observing. Me. The thread tightened. I felt pressure building behind my eyes. Not demanding output, inviting it. They wanted to see if I'd pulse again. Same response, same data. No. Not this time. I didn't move. The slit widened slightly. Testing. My pulse steadied. I let the power rise. Not release. Just rise. Like drawing a blade and holding it at someone's throat. The slit reacted. It trembled. I felt resistance from the other side. Calculation. They were measuring build-up speed now. Fine. I changed the equation. Instead of pushing outward, I cut inward. Not a pulse, a slice. A focused disruption aimed at the thread itself, not the breach. Pain shot up my arm like lightning in bone. A pulse was brute force. This was surgery. Surgery hurt longer. The thread snapped. The slit collapsed instantly. Not slammed, snuffed. The spiral on the corpse's chest went dull. Dead flesh again. The hum vanished. Silence returned like nothing had happened. I staggered back, vision blurring at the edges. Liam caught me before asphalt did. You okay? He demanded. Define okay. He tightened his grip. You didn't blow out windows. They wanted that. And you didn't give it to them. No. My left hand shook harder now, finer tremor, deeper. But the breach was gone, completely. No residual connection, nothing listening. Liam scanned the street. What did you do? I cut the wire instead of the power source. That sounds bad. It's smarter. He searched my face. And what did they learn this time? I let out a slow breath. That I adapt. He nodded once. Then his gaze shifted past me. His expression changed. Not fear, recognition. What? I asked. He tilted his chin slightly. I followed his line of sight. Across the street. Third house down, second-story window, curtain barely parted. A figure stood behind the glass. Still. Watching. Not hiding, just present. Too far to see details, but I felt it. That same calm pressure. Not supernatural flair, not dramatic energy, just attention. My skin went cold. The curtain slid closed, slowly, deliberately. Liam's hand tightened on my shoulder. "You see that?" he asked quietly. "Yes." "Neighbor?" "No." "Witness?" "No." "Then who?" I stared at the blank window, at the absence where someone had stood, and for the first time since the alley, I felt something shift back the other direction. Not fear, not exactly, but awareness of scale. "They're not just measuring from a distance," I said softly. Liam's voice lowered. "You think that was him?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know the name yet. But I knew the intent. Controlled, patient, architectural. The milk from the grocery bag had finally reached the gutter. White against dark asphalt. I stepped out of the spiral completely. This time, I didn't feel hunted. And I didn't feel fully like the hunter either. I felt seen, and whoever had been behind that curtain, they wanted me to know it. That concludes this chapter of Shadows of the Night. If you enjoyed the story, consider subscribing and following the playlist so you don't miss the next chapter. Threshold City still has many secrets left to uncover. Until next time.